What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Yard Red Festival. This is going to be between Sqreen Squad and Power Rangers Game 3. Currently, both teams having one win under their belt, so this is going to be deciding who's going to moving on in the top bracket, I guess, and who's going to drop to losers. I don't really know who they're going to be facing just yet. It's actually winner faces M5, so that should be pretty interesting. This is going to be on the HeflaTV channel here on HeflaTV. I'm Mike Loris. I'm joined by Grandis V. What did you think about that last game, man?
It was pretty crazy. The RPs, there was one amazing four-man RP. But after that, it was very lackluster. There were a couple of RPs that almost completely hit nothing, or literally hit nothing, and I don't know, it just didn't work out for them. The Slark was the only hero that mattered for a Sqreen Squad, or at least the only hero that could do damage. The Queen of Pain died so quickly in the team fights that once the Slark died without buyback, that was the end of the game. Power Rangers just find a really good opening and fight back after losing one of their barracks. They win a crushing team fight where the Slark buys his Scotty first and then can't buy back. And from there on out, it's a fairly easy win for Power Rangers, tying up the series 1-1.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens when you pick up the Queen of Pain and then decide to make her go for Dagon and then Lincoln Sphere. Like, she's going to give you that early game advantage. That's just what Dagon does. But then you lack late game. If she went for a sheep stick, as we kept on saying before, or she went for anything different, something like an orchid even, she would have been able to contribute in much different ways than just pure damage late. And well, the Dagon late game was dangerous, but it wasn't exactly the most relevant item in the world. That being said, it's going to be all in the past as Power Rangers have tied it up, and it is going to be a much different draft. Shadow Demon is going to make a reappearance as a Sqreen Mage, but this time it's going to be Marana and Puck getting through.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Marana this highly prized in the draft, but then again, if you're picking up the Shadow Demon, Marana is quite possibly one of the best, if not the best hero, to combo up with that disruption into Arrow, guaranteeing a long duration stun in the early game can make that to a very potent roaming duo as far as supports are concerned. Power Rangers look like they still need one of their supports still, or potentially they have none of their supports picked. The Sqreen Mage could be rotated into her core position, but right now, Sqreen Mage, pretty standard. The Puck, seeing it this early, again, is fairly interesting, despite both heroes being pretty solid in their own right. Usually they're second picking stage, or, yeah, material.
Well, Puck and Sqreen Mage, silence is going to be, off the bat, very useful at dealing with the Marana. If she is going to be played as a core, then blink into a silence or just a long-range arcane seal is a great way to shut her down and then kill her off down the line. But Shadow Demon is once again going to be on the opposite end of Sqreen Mage, and we saw how well that worked last game. Whenever a Mystic Flare was dropped, almost instantly the disruption was out, and whoever was on the receiving end of that skill was, for the most part, safe. So Sqreen Squad have themselves a pretty nice situation, but Power Rangers have quite a bit of potency to their lineup as well, as it's going to be a lot of mobility, and when you have heroes like Puck, the more stuns you can pick up, the better. Marana, Shadow Demon's okay, but they need a little bit more. Tidehunter, not exactly what they want just yet.
Yeah. Tidehunter, the Ravage is fairly easy to avoid if you're a Puck, Lizard Orb to get away from the Ravage AoE, or just shielding yourself inside the excuse me, phase shift. Yeah, that spell. Either way, the Tidehunter is still going to give them a large amount of teamfight power, and the other heroes are very likely to be caught out. Power Rangers are going to go with the Wisp again. If it's not broken, I suppose don't fix it. The IO, this game, I don't think we're going to see a Phantom Assassin, although we very well could. Worked pretty well for them.
Yeah, Phantom Assassin, so far I don't see any huge reasons why not. It's difficult playing Phantom Assassin against a Tidehunter and against a Leaping Marana and Shadow Demon, so that might be the reason why. But again, this is going to force Sqreen's hand into taking precautions against Tiny down the line, or maybe even that Phantom Assassin is going to hit the ban. I mean, we do see teams occasionally just randomly banning out Phantom Assassin, even without a IO being picked up first. So I think that's going to be the Phantom Assassin hitting the bin as, wow, Sqreen Squad go deep into the late game with Spectre. So if it does go to a late game stage, then they're going to rely on one of, if not the most potent late game hero, Spectre. They have a decent amount of protection for the early stages with Marana, Shadow Demon, Tidehunter. It's just a matter of how much Power Rangers is going to punish this pick.
With the Sqreen Mage as well as an IO as their supporting duo, it's going to be pretty difficult. I don't know. I really like the draft coming out from Sqreen. Usually, Io paired with Tiny really wants to go into the late game, but up against the Spectre, that's not the most reliable way of handling things. They're also going to be relocating into the likes of a Tidehunter Ravage, as well as a Mirana Arrow, potentially going to land on them. And Spectre, worst case scenario, can always reality away, and if the Scarith Mage isn't involved in the fight, could end up just dying as the Spectre reality is a way to safety. I think that the Spectre pick here is going to be able to get enough, and the combo with the Io this game is going to be a Morphling for Power Rangers.
So they are going to have quite a bit of burst magical damage. Io Morphling, not exactly the most common combination, and we are assuming it's going to be the combo, probably going to head towards the mid lane. It is very hard to deal with this duo of heroes in the mid lane, as they are both ranged and they could go on you pretty strong. So Morphling Io is not common, but it is still extremely potent. As far as late game scenarios, Morphling is more going to be concerned at taking out one support and then backing off. Spectre is still, I think, the strongest late game carry in this particular game, but Morphling is certainly a hero that, even if it's not late game, he could punish the Spectre. If he has a little bit of farm, he could go aggressive early on with the rest of his team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Waveform is always a wonderful nuke, although Adaptive Strike isn't going to come online until you do get a couple of those larger items, or at the very least, more levels on your Morphling. The next hero for Sqreen Squad is going to offer them even more global potential, as well as a little bit more push with the Invoker. Another really solid hero. I think that Sqreen Squad's lineup right now is very well-rounded. They have a decent amount of teamfight power as well as good pickoff with all of their heroes, and I think most importantly, the Spectre is going to have a decent time. Power Rangers' aggressive potential early on is fairly limited. I think that this Io is going to be buddied up with the Morphling through the majority of this game, whether that's going to be going towards the mid and they throw the puck towards the offlane, or whether they pick up another offlane hero here. I still think that the Spectre is going to be able to get at least a decent amount of farm in the early game, and as long as the Spectre doesn't die, I think they're going to be completely fine. Power Rangers, as far as their last hero is concerned, a Bristleback wouldn't be awful for them, although they might consider getting a little bit more control. Centaur is still available in the pool, another good Blink Initiator that they could use pretty effectively, especially if you have an Ethereal Blade on the Morphling, as well as the Ancient Seal from the Scarith Mage. That's a whole lot of magical burst.
Yeah, any sort of stunning action would be great for Power Rangers. Sqreen Squad, after their last picks, Tidehunter, Spectre, Invoker, I was talking before about silences to deal with the puck. You need silences and stuns to deal with the Morphling, even more so, I would say, because he's just overall a more dangerous hero later on. So the Invoker is going to have to pick up a Sheepstick or an Orchid or something like that, or the Mirana's going to have to land every single arrow in the game. So Sqreen Squad, they're very stun light, and you don't want to have a team that's stun light when you're facing up against a Morphling and a puck. So for Sqreen, they have to weather a very aggressive early game for Power Rangers. Now that the Venomancer is picked up as well, I mean, as you said, Io Scarith Mage is not the most aggressive of combinations, but with the Venomancer now, they're going to be putting a lot of farm into the Morphling puck, and Venomancer to top things all off. This is certainly a lineup that can punish a Spectre, especially since if Sqreen Squad want to go aggressive towards Power Rangers ever, then it's probably not going to go very well due to their lack of stuns.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Power Rangers, it looks like they're going to do dual lanes here. I would assume Scarlet Mage and Venomancer are going to be paired together and leave the Io and Morphling as a partnered pair. I don't know, that could work out, or maybe it's just a full-on tri-lane. Either way, into the game we go, and on the Radiant side is going to be Sqreen Squad. Both of these teams are currently fighting to stay in the upper bracket. This game is going to give us a winner in this best-of-3 series, with Slander playing on the Shadow Demon. Our other support is going to be Sqreen, handling the Mirana. ZXC is going to be playing on the Spectre, Mammoth going to be playing in the Invoker mid, and Akvarium going to be playing in the Tidehunter offlane.
Alright, and on the Power Ranger side, we got Seneko once again going to be playing the Io. Ouijastic is going to be handling the Scarith Mage, with Cheshire Cat playing the Venomancer. J4 is on the puck, and that leaves Shotslow over on the Morphling. Did they make a switch right now?
Yes.
I think they might have just switched. Okay, so Cheshire Cat's on the puck now, and J4 is on the Venomancer, just settling things all out while we do have this pause. And, well, I think the lanes, pretty much for Power Rangers, no matter what, are going to be very strong. Sqreen Squad, with the fact that they have a Spectre, are inherently going to have weaker lanes.
Yeah. I don't know. It is going to put a lot of pressure on the early game for Sqreen Squad, but even so, if they're able to get one good team fight with Ravage or a pick off with the Mirana as well as the Shadow Demon, the comeback mechanics currently in 6.82, I think will allow them to extend the game to the point where Spectre is going to become relevant, which is all you can really ask for your Spectre. We'll see. We'll see. We are going to see the Courier now being fairly interesting on the Radiant side. It's called Mini Sqreen, and it's a little tusk. I don't know. That's cute. Either way, into the lanes we're going to go. Tidehunter is going to be, as expected, soloing the offlane Mid Invoker probably just going to be sending that one solo. Two pool tangos is all that he's going to need on top of that Null Talisman. Sqreen and Slander are currently making their way towards the top rune. Probably going to be doing a solid amount of roaming. Boots first on Slander as well as a smoke onto Sqreen, potentially looking for a first blood. And they might find a Venomancer, one of these supports, if they're unlucky enough to find this top rune.
Yeah, Shadow Demon Mirana, I don't think they're going to be doing that much roaming just because they are going to be needed so desperately on the bottom lane. Spectre is not going to be able to get that much done all by her lonesome. She does have a lot of restoration, so chip damage isn't going to be the largest of concerns for ZXC, but even with that not being a huge concern, the fact that she's most likely going to be going up against the Puck means that she's going to be losing this lane very handily. So Spectre's going to need support, and the Shadow Demon Mirana combinations have to get something done elsewhere if they really want to make things happen. They're going to set up for J4. The Wisp is going to come in. They're going to turn around and go for Slander. I was going to connect onto We Just Sick, and suddenly he's the one who's going to be in trouble. Slander almost going to drop first blood, but it's actually going to be him drawing first blood on the Venomancer. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the end, and well, that should just about be it. An arrow landing from that far away is most of the time going to get you a kill. And they're still fighting it out. Gush now into Saneko. Does have an arrow coming in, but he's going to dodge it. And now he's still taking a lot of physical damage. He does have only one Tango left, and I think he's going to have to go all the way back to the base. After all said and done, it is a 1-for-1 trade, but Sqreen Squad taking the edge because they got first blood.
Yeah. It was a beautiful block coming out from the Shadow Demon. Right about here, he was able to get all of the illusions surrounding in the Venomancer. The arrow came incredibly late, however. I thought they'd shoot that earlier on, but they still get the first blood nonetheless. So still Sqreen Squad coming out a little bit ahead. This Mirana as well as the Shadow Demon currently heading towards the middle lane as Slander and Sqreen are smoked up, looking to catch Shashlo and Saneko off guard. And currently this Wisp would be a very tasty kill as he has very little HP and he's sending out the bottle on the courier. This might even be the bigger pickoff. They start up with the arrow, looking for an angle. They can't find it. Mirana deciding not to go for the courier. They might be able to get their cake and eat it too as they get the arrow to land on Saneko. And that's going to be a huge loss. Luckily enough for them, the bottle was delivered to the Wisp before it died, but still a lot of gold going in the pockets of Sqreen Squad, and this support rotation, despite leaving the Spectre solo versus the Puck, is still working out, and ZXC is not losing straight up to the Puck to start things off, since Cheshire Cat went for boots first, isn't able to completely dominate the lane, and if they need to, they can go down towards bottom, although Sqreen and Slander look like they have their eyes set on top.
This is such an aggressive opening from the Shadow Demon Mirana. It's exactly what we're talking about. They need to be aggressive in order to overcome this kind of weakness on the bottom lane. And it's not really too dangerous just yet. 6-0 versus 4-1. Actually, Spectre holding a CS advantage somehow. We Just Sick is going to be set up once again. The arrow should be flying, and it is going to connect square onto the Skywrath Mage. Sunstrike is going to be split between him and J4, but they're going to take out the Skywrath Mage regardless. Is there another Gush? No, not enough mana. It's going to be a kill regardless. Even Invoker helping out a little bit that time. So it's going to be, what, the third rotation from Slander and Sqreen, and it's going to be 3 kills for Sqreen Squad. So if they could keep this kind of pressure up, then they're going to be sitting pretty. Adding a little bit of help to the Tidehunter, giving a little bit of help to the Invoker. I think the lanes overall for Power Rangers are just stronger, so these supports are going to have to do this. Aquarium is going to be gone upon over on the top lane. He's going to get an Anchor Smash, but it's a little bit too late to save him. Sqreen is going to put a little bit of damage into We Just Sick, but the Tidehunter buddy is already dead, and now everyone is going to be backing off. So Power Rangers get a nice follow-up kill on the Tidehunter, who has no Kraken Shell, no Stout Shield early on, just boots, so he is pretty easy pickings to the magical damage and lockdown of the Venomancer and Skywrath Mage combo.
Yeah, and outside of that kill on the Tidehunter, the early game for Sqreen Squad was going so well, but right now, it's going to pretty much tie things up. We are going to take a look very early on at the graphs, and they're completely zeroed out. Usually I don't do this, but then again, after a courier kill and so much action around the map, I suppose it's worthwhile. ZXC in bottom is actually doing better up against the Puck than I'd expected, not being zoned out very effectively, and the Puck's actually not denying very much either. 13-1 compared to 13-3, having a great time on ZXC, actually. In mid, Disruption looking for the arrow. The Sunstrike is going to be landed, but it's split between creeps, and the arrow doesn't follow through. The Cold Snap is going to land. Saneko is over the top. Waveform gets killed on the Invoker. They will be able to pick off Saneko, and the Morphling is going to survive, although on very low HP. Ooh, just a little bit of a miscue. It's going to be PR getting the better half of that exchange, as they're the ones to kill the core.
Yeah, they get a little bit more because not only is it a core, but it's also just a higher level hero in general. So the kill from Sqreen Squad is there, but I don't really know if the arrow was thrown or if it missed or anything like that, but either way, the combination just a little bit lacking, and Invoker taking one too many hits from the Morphling is going to drop to the waveform. So unfortunately, that's going to be the first rotation from Sqreen Squad that wasn't just an absolute success, and well, they're still already at level 3, so, I mean, it's not a terrible start for Sqreen Squad regardless. Now that I think it's about time to lend a little bit of aid to the Spectre, but Spectre's level 5, he has the Ring of Health already, and Puck is not able to burst down the Spectre. Though he does have phase boots, it's very difficult. Spectre is doing very, very well, actually.
Yeah. Spectre also with 5 Tangas as well as the Salve expected this lane to be a lot harder since the supports were planning on rotating. Hasn't even been forced to use that. So I don't think there's a chance for this Puck to actually zone out the Spectre, although level 6 is going to come very soon for Cheshire Cat, and once he has that, the Puck can make some rotations of his own or potentially gank into the lane of the Spectre with rotation coming out from the likes of the Scarlet Mage, maybe even the Venomancer.
So we do see the net worths reflecting the fact that Power Rangers do in fact have generally stronger lanes. They're getting more farm, and this is even having a kill disadvantage and losing a courier on top of that. So they're doing very well in their lanes overall, but they might not be having that for very long because Puck, just will narrowly dodge that arrow. Might think about turning around for Slander, but he's going to get clipped with the dagger. Now jump forward from Sqreen. Sunstrike a little bit off the mark, and Cheshire Cat is barely going to survive on the bottom lane.
Yeah, Invoker looks like he was overestimating that slow coming up from the Spectral Dagger level 3. Either way, another arrow being thrown out by the Mirana, going to land onto Creeps. The Puck wasn't even there, so wouldn't have done anything. Maybe expecting the Puck to be healing on the sidelines, he's going to be sent all the way back to base. Puck is going to back off for a bottle instead of rushing straight towards the Blink Dagger. It's not bad farm by any means for the Puck, but it is going to delay his impact a little bit, going for more of a lane domination build instead of even the power treads. I'm not sure if I like the face of this game. Let's see, the Morphling is getting very good farm in mid, or decent farm at the very least, but Invoker's still not doing terrible as an arrow is going to be shot up and top. It does not land, or maybe it did land on a J4. He's not going to fall because of it, though.
Yeah, Venomancer is getting quite a bit of farm. In fact, he's on the top of the net worth chart. There's nothing much that the Tidehunter can do in this case. Up against Sqreen Mage, it's tough for the Tidehunter. Up against Sqreen and Venomancer, it gets really bad. So they're going to wait for him down and try to go for Momont. He's going to get forced into the Ghost Walk, but the Silence as well as the Wisp Balls are going to kill off the Invoker in the end, even through that Ghost Walk. So it's a rotation for the Power Rangers, and this is about the start, I would say, of their aggressive play. They have the Coil on the Puck, although he just used it, so they have it. You know, he's at the level of Coil, let's say, and he's going to be making rotations, as you said before. And Sqreen Squad, they have a whole bunch of kind of weak laners, so they are vulnerable to these types of rotations. And if they can get them to happen, that's fantastic. J4 is going to get got upon up on top, but it's going to be Ouija Stick to take the Sunstrike and the Anchor Smash in the end. Arrow's going to connect on him as well. J4 is going to hit with some stars. He will survive, though. It's only level 1. Here comes the Haunt, though, and I don't think J4 is going to be able to survive this. The Spectre is not going to haunt in. In fact, well, I think she probably could have gotten away with that, but deciding not to. The Venomancer barely gets limp away from the top lane, and he's going to go for a Hand of Midas. Midas Venomancer is very, very rare. If you get it this quickly, I guess it's okay, but it's going to be like 8-9 minutes. That's a pretty average time for a Midas.
I think it'll be faster than 8 or 9 minutes. I expect like 7.5, 8 at the latest, since he's still pretty close. I don't know. Either way, ZXE, he didn't have enough mana and didn't have a TP either to get himself out after diving for that kill, and didn't have enough for the Spectral Dagger either. So I'm not sure if that would have been a kill on your Venomancer even. And if it was, it probably would have cost the Spectre too much, as they find themselves a Slander, silenced up the waveform over the top. They'll get a very easy kill on the Shadow Demon, finding himself in a very awkward situation, spotted out by the Observer Ward of the Dire.
Yeah, he's going to know that there's now vision in the area, but he doesn't know if it's across the river or if he was just sitting on it, and the answer, of course, was he was just sitting on it. So I don't even know if they're going to know where it is, let alone bother dewarding, just because it is kind of unknown as to the location of the ward. Regardless, it is a kill going the way of Power Rangers. The Morphling's actually 2-0-1 and might catch a courier kill here. Waveform forward, one more hit, that's going to be a courier kill, and then instantly gets relocated downwards towards the bottom lane where they're going to clean up the Spectre. That was a very nice, tight series of events. That doesn't really get any much better than that.
It really doesn't. That was the Spectre's completed Vanguard. Vitality booster down for 3 minutes for the Spectre. It's a devastating blow. Sunstrike in mid's going to land onto Saniko, but he'll be able to back off, although it takes quite a decent amount of damage from the Forge Spirits. With no Sunstrike available, Saniko is going to survive, or at least I think he will. Needs 2 more attacks from that Forge Spirit, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it before it times out. And with the body box with Scarlet Mage, definitely not going to happen, as Mirana's the one to actually die. Sold up by the Puck, it seems. Dream Coil was committed earlier on, wasn't even necessary for that kill. It's a support Mirana with only level 4, and so the Puck was able to burst her down.
Yeah, I think she also leaped into the trees, so that's not a good place to be ever. So it's going to be Power Rangers off to a 7-5 advantage. The Spectre is doing okay, but definitely needs a lot more space in order to feel very comfortable for Sqreen Squad. They do have going for them the fact that Tidehunter is level 7, and a Ravage can turn this game on its head if it actually lands on a couple people, but for right now, the Tidehunter is content with just sitting up on top lane and getting what farm he can. He's holding on to a Ring of Regen, so he might be going for the mech for the team. It's not a terrible item to go for a Tidehunter, though I do like the straight Blink Dagger. Maybe it's going to be a Force Staff, and that might be the case because he's going to go for a little bit more budget build in this scenario where he's under a lot of pressure. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, especially when you're dealing with the likes of Venomancer, or maybe even the odd Wisp Orb. Shadow Demon in mid is going to drop very low, but the Wisp is the first one to die. No, we just going to be tagged by the Gush as the relocate from the Spectre is going to secure those kills. Shashlo dropping fairly low, going to be cold snapped up. The dagger is also going to land as he looks for the waveform over the trees. He's going to be able to find it, but he's still slowed down. And with free movement, ZXC can easily get this kill, especially when an arrow lands. And that's going to be a lot of kills going the way of Sqreen Squad, and just like that, it's going to be a fairly large win for them. They did have to commit the Ravage earlier on throughout all of this, but I would like to see the Force Staff from the Tidehunter.
Well, Ravage first time used and getting 3 kills is rather impressive, as it did connect onto pretty much everyone. They had just enough chasing power to kill off the Morphling, and an arrow snuck through a whole bunch of creeps and connected on the target as well. So overall for Sqreen Squad, the fights are pretty ideal over on the mid lane, as they are going to be very happy with the wins that they have taken there. And well, the question is, can they actually translate this into anything substantial? Hand of Midas on the Invoker certainly going to be very nice, but is Spectre getting enough farm so that she could be a late game threat? Because she has almost a Vanguard. It's, I mean, on the Courier, so it is on the Courier, right? Yeah. Vanguard completed on the Courier. She's going to go for her phase boost. They're going to relocate up towards top, maybe save J4. Stars are going to fall. Arrow is going to be launched. J4 is going to go down. Sqreen's going to take that one, but I think it's going to trade for his life. They even use the dust so she doesn't Moonlight Shadow away. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Losing the Venomancer is pretty bad for the Power Rangers, but I mean, they get the Morphling even more gold because he gets another kill. He's holding on to Perseverance, and I think it is going to be a Lincoln Sphere for him. So Shotshell is going to be a pretty dangerous hero moving forward. I would say probably more dangerous than this Spectre.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Without the lockdown coming out from the Invoker, especially later on, if he does move into the Orchid or the Scythe of Vice, this Morphling doesn't really have to worry about anything. He's going to be avoiding the Gush, maybe even more importantly, the Shadow Demon Disruption to set up for their other stuns. And without any setup, the Morphling doesn't really have to worry about Sun Strikes or about arrows going his way. They are going to lose their tier 1 tower down in bottom. ZXC does have the Vanguard flying out to him, as well as 1 Blades of Attack. We'll have Phase as well as Vanguard, which is decent, I suppose. Concussive Shot thrown the way of Slander. Slander will avoid that with the Disruption and keep himself safe in the meantime. We are going to see a fight in mid, potentially breaking out. The Waveform will keep Morphling safe. The tier 1 tower was denied by the Miranda. The Whisperers do a lot of damage to Sqreen, but they don't have any other way to follow that up.
Yeah, tower denial is going to be very nice for Sqreen Squad in order to deny any sort of additional early game advantage for the Power Rangers. And it's 2 towers down for the Power Rangers, so regardless of what gets denied or killed, it is going to be them taking a little bit more map control, and that's going to be certainly very useful when you're talking about a Morphling, who might down the line might want to go for a Ethereal Blade, but they lose the top lane tower as well, denied by the Tidehunter. That's 2 tower denials by the Sqreen Squad, and now they're going to initiate onto Sqreen and Slander both, getting hit with a 2-man coil, plus a 2-man orb and 2-man silence, and now here comes the cleanup. Shotshell is going to come in and kill off the Mirana. Shadow Demon's going to take a fall to the IO. They're all going to cluster up, and ZXC actually going to relocate into this one. I don't know if this is the best idea for the Spectre. He's damn fast, though, so he's going to survive. That could have been very, very ugly for the Spectre.
Really could have been. When everybody's clumped up like that, the Desolate damage doesn't work, and so I don't think the Spectre could have gotten any kills anyway. That was a very questionable relocate in. The Sunstrike in mid is going to land squarely onto the Skyath Mage, and Ouija-Stick is going to be sent back to the well the hard way. Sheshel is still remaining in mid lane. It's going to be a pick off for Sqreen Squad. They have to blow quite a bit for it. It's not a win for them per se. Still, Power Rangers are looking very good as far as their top 3 cores, all on top of the net worth chart, although not by a huge amount. Still 2k advantage going the way of the Morphling on top of the Spectre's farm. Spectre's items right now are really good for fighting, which might be why ZXC pulled the trigger on that hunt to try to go in. Doesn't cost her a life, but still questionable.
Either way, the score is still tied, and Power Rangers would at this point like to have an advantage. I guess it's nice for them that the Morphling is getting so much farm, because Lincoln Sphere is going to be incredibly useful, and the faster you get Lincoln Sphere, the faster you get the Ethereal Blade to follow, stuff like that. But with the Venomancer core, he actually hasn't done much of anything except for played the Broodmother role over on the top lane. brought the tier 1 tower down, but that's about it. Tier 2 tower, relatively unscathed, so core Venomancer so far not really doing that much of anything, as he's been pretty much doing his own thing for the entirety of this game, and you really want to be a lot more active in pushing down the towers and actually killing off the towers. Power Rangers, they might feel inclined to fall back onto Shachlo's late game, just because they're struggling to find any sort of decisive wins early.
Yeah, it seems that way. Titan is going to back off for the Blink Dagger instead of going for the Force Staff that we talked about earlier. I don't know, it's still a great item, although it can be cancelled by the damage coming out from Venomancer and his Plague Wards. Still, if your positioning is good, the Titan Blink Ravage is, I don't know, one of the best. So can't really fault him for that decision. Invoker is going to be backing off for the Necronomicon, just going for a pretty standard build after going for the Hand of Midas. Mimont's died twice, but his Sunstrikes have been okay. He missed a couple in the earlier portions of the game, but later on, they've been on point, 3, 2, and 4 on the Invoker. He's still getting decent farm, and I don't think that Sqreen Squad are uncomfortable with how they're doing right now, although their Spectre might not be able to go for Radiance this game, just because you won't have it fast enough. We'll have to see how the next couple of minutes are going to go in this game. The Tier 1 towers haven't been touched by Sqreen Squad in this game, and once they do fall, this advantage that Power Rangers have made for themselves is going to be more or less completely negated.
Yeah, if the game continues and it just stalled out like this, where Power Rangers are just farming and Sqreen Squad are just farming, assuming Spectre is able to farm just as much as the Morphling, which she is not going to be able to, it's going to be slightly less, then it will benefit still Sqreen Squad. They're going to throw an arrow and it will land Ouija sick. He's just been an arrow magnet. Now the curse as well as Sunstrike. Rest in peace, Skywrath Mage. That's a very, very easy kill for Mamont, and should be an easy tower as well. They do have level 1 book, and that's going to bring the tower down a little bit quicker. Still, the Venomancer up on top is being a nuisance, but this tower is actually not taking that much damage. So even though Venomancer is there and technically pressuring the lane, he's not actually doing much of anything. They're even going to rotate down to the bottom and try to get 2 towers off of this. They might lose their tier 2 bottom since now Shachlo's come in, and he's doing some pretty serious damage, but taking 1 for 2 seems worth it to me, as it's going to be a 1 for 0 in the end.
Yeah. And also, especially if you look at the mid-tier 2, they just left the Forge Spirits as well as the Necronomicons, and that already did about a quarter of the chip damage on the tower. They get the tier 1 or tier 2 up on top down to less than half, and eventually that tower is going to fall, but honestly not the most important tower as far as map control is concerned for the Radiant. Yeah, Venomancer, if Broodmother was in Captain's mode, probably would have been better served to be playing that hero. They are going to relocate in, looking for the Spectre. They do get the Dream Coil and blow up the Mirana instantly, and ZXC is going to be slowed down, trying for the TP. It's not going to be successful. Damage is there. And Cheshire Cat draws a killing spree, as well as killing the arguably most important hero on the side of Sqreen Squad in the Spectre.
Killing the Spectre is great. Killing the Mirana is just a bonus. Now they're setting up for top lane. This is walking straight into a Ravage, though. The Gale is out, and Akvarium's going to see that he has a 2-man Ravage opportunity, but he will get silenced, and he will be denied that opportunity right now. The poison damage is slowly chipping him down. Will he just die to this poison? With the Wisp Balls available, he's going to go down. The Rock is going to be dropped, but J4, for the most part, is going to avoid that, as Mamont going to try to TP away. Do they have anything to stun him out? They don't. They're still going to blink forward, and it's not going to be much of anything, but it is going to be Tidehunter going down. I thought that Sqreen Squad would have an opportunity there, but it seems like they don't. The Venomancer ultimate just proving to be way too powerful.
Another one of the benefits of getting a Hand of Midas, besides the obvious gold, is that extra levels, which have boosted the Venomancer up to level 12 now in this game. The level 2 ultimate doing a whole lot of damage to that Tidehunter, and you can't purge it off with the Kraken Shell, so he is going to end up falling, and they had a little bit of extra damage from the other heroes jumping in as well, so even if that wasn't the case, they still would have gotten that kill. Tier 2 tower up on top is going to be under some pretty heavy pressure, although not in deny range yet. It doesn't look like PR are going to fully commit. They still have a Ravage up in the Tidehunter that they have to deal with, and Cheshire Cat as well as Sunico are currently sending eyes on mid, and the Morphling is nowhere to be seen. They might get this Tidehunter, or they're going to ping out Sqreen. They are going to jump in, get the silence on 2 of them. Dream Coil also going to land on both. They are going to get the Wisp Orb damage onto Avarium, but he is going to drop the Ravage onto 2, following up with the Spectre as well as the Sunstrike. They're probably going to lose Cheshire Cat here. The Blink Dagger is going to be cancelled by the Spectral Dagger, and one more swing of Spectre's Sword will secure his end, and that's also a gem on the deck. A huge loss for Power Rangers. They only lose Sqreen on the side of Sqreen Squad. Right now, that support Mirana doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, going for the Mirana, I can buy that. Like, that seems like a good idea to me, going for that. But right next to her is the big Tidehunter, and going for that doesn't seem like a good idea. And it certainly wasn't. Getting hit with the 2-man Ravage, trading the Puck for Mirana wouldn't have been worth it. Trading the Puck and Io for the Mirana, definitely not worth it. So Power Rangers, I guess jumping the gun just a little bit, the Puck does have the Dagon completed on the Courier, so we're going to be seeing one of those games again, and that would have helped him to get in and get out really quickly, but without that on his person, it's not really feasible to go in for killing off 2 heroes like that, even though you are wielding the coil.
Invoker gets tower denies. The waveform over the top from the Morphling as he's relocated back in towards base. Zaniko prepped that relocate and dropped down so they could commit to that tier 2 and then get out safely. It was well played there, but then again, that's your 3rd denied tower on the side of Sqreen Squad. That gold is starting to add up, and it's gold that Sqreen Squad still have on the map that may or may not be denied for them. Cheshire Cat looking to hunt up in top, and we'll find a ZXC. Vanguard or not, that's going to kill you instantly, as the Illusion Orb, Silence, as well as the Dagon damage is too much for the Spectre, with only 2 points up into the dispersion, and even with more, doesn't actually matter.
Sqreen's still hunting. J4 is going to get 4-staffed out, but the stars are going to fall soon, and there they are. J4 is going to get Anchor Smash, and he's going to try to turn and fight, put some poison damage on the enemy side. Here comes Cheshire Cat with a 2-man coil, actually. There's no follow-up to this, though. Mystic Flare is going to land on Sqreen. It will be mostly dodged by that disruption. And Sqreen potentially still in a bit of trouble. Blink forward, potentially killing him off, although it's going to be him, yes, barely getting clipped with the coil. That's a gem on the floor. Cheshire Cat's going to snatch that one up and, yeah, secure that for himself. Overall, it's going to be a lot of space spot, at the very least, for Power Rangers, as Sochlo and Soniko were in the Roshan pit. So Power Rangers taking a decent enough fight over on the top lane. Losing Venomancer from Mirana, again, not worth it, but taking Roshan on top of that kind of makes it a little bit more... a little bit better for the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Cheshire Cat's microplay there was pretty cute. He dropped the bottle to pick up the gem and immediately denied his bottle. I don't know, he probably could have gotten rid of the wards instead, but either way, was very fast about it, and they secure a lot of map objectives for themselves. And Aegis now in the Morphling. With that Morbid Mask, that was all that he really needed to take that Roshan, especially when you have a Wisp backing up with overcharged bottle charges on top of it. And this Morphling is going to get very dangerous very soon. The Lincoln Sphere popped by the mana burn of the Necronomicon Warrior, but those Necronomicon Warriors have been farmed up by PR, which is 400 gold being thrown the way the enemy team, not to mention the experience.
Yeah, it's going to help redeem the fact that they did have those towers denied, and, you know, despite those 3 towers denied by the from the Power Rangers, they're still sitting on a very comfortable gold lead, 7,500 plus, about 5,000 in experience as well, so... You know, it's not going to be the best of times because they did get all that tower gold denied, but still if they're farming elsewhere on the map, then it's going to be perfectly reasonable for Power Rangers to stay the course and, you know, try to get something elsewhere besides just towers, whether it's Roshan or just out CSing the enemy. It's all good for them. As Spectre, she's been left alone for, I want to say, quite a long time. Haven't really seen too much of her lately. She's at up to 2,900 gold, but not quite at anything concrete in order to help these fights. No relic, mainly. They're going to go for Slander, and, well, I mean, there was a Shadow Demon there, I think. He's gone now. The Mirana's going to leap out of that situation, and Shotzo on the front lines is going to kill off the Mirana with the help of the Dream Coil, and now Aquarium is going to try to run away. He's going to deploy the Ravage. Will connect onto 3. Cheshire Cat dodges it, but Aquarium's still turning around. The Ravage was huge, and it's going to be enough to get a whole bunch of kills. Mammoth collects a double. Venomancer going to go down in the back line, but Cheshire Cat and Shotzo still alive. The 2 dangerous heroes. Now they're going to chase after ZXC, who's going to try to hide in the trees. No adaptive strike, no vision, actually. At the end of the day, it's going to be Power Rangers taking a 2-for-4 exchange down on the bottom lane, even getting hit with 3 people in the Ravage. Sochlo, as well as the Puck, did manage to survive long enough to clean house.
Yeah, the Spectre is getting closer towards her Radiance. At this point in the game, however, it might be a little too late. The Relic is going to come out at probably about 23 minutes in. And for a Spectre, that's, I don't know, just not enough. I think at this point, there's not really another item that Spectre could go for. Diffusal might be useful. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, however. Morphling is well on his way towards his shotgun, or whatever his next big item is going to be, whereas Spectre doesn't even have one late-game 6-slotted item finished.
Alright, so Morphling is going to be going for that shotgun, and take a quick look at the vulnerable targets. We have Shadow Demon, Mirana for sure, Spectre with 1200 HP, Invoker with 1400, Tidehunter with 1400 as well. They're all going to be a little bit tougher for the Morphling to crack, but if he has any sort of help at all, like with the Puck Dagon after the Ethereal Blade, that's going to be, for sure, kills on literally any hero that Sqreen Squad have. So this is going to be a pretty fast Ethereal Blade, especially when you consider you got Lincolns and a casual Morbid Mask in between. So Sochlo is absolutely terrifying right now. 12,000 gold is by no means unkillable. He's very much so a glass cannon at this stage. If he gets caught with a Ravage or an arrow, then he just will die. But he has so many tools. I mean, he has Replicate, he has Wisp behind him, he has a Lincoln Sphere and an Aegis still. this Morphling is pretty much exactly where he wants to be, and now he's going to flex his muscles down on bottom. Sqreen is going to throw an arrow, which will not connect onto anyone, but it will be a scout forward, as it's going to be Morphling and Saniko split pushing while the rest of his team is mostly in base. J4 up on top has finally brought down a tier 2 tower. I mean, that was denied previously, but that's about it. This Venomancer, though he still can do a lot of dots, he hasn't really done that much directly. As Mont is going to be jumped, he is going to get hit with the Poison Nova. Is there any True Sight? It seems like there's not. He's very slowly going to crawl away with the Ghost Walk.
Yep, he is going to survive. His Gale is going to wear off. The Venomancer ultimate's going to drop him pretty low. That is Aghanimed up. If there was any damage on top of it, that would have been a kill on your Invoker, surviving with about 90 HP. But there wasn't. I think Morphling probably could have gone for maybe a blind waveform, hoping that it hits the Invoker, and that would have secured the death. Either way, it's not a lot lost by PR. The Venomancer probably could have been replaced by another hero, but this is a synergy that I haven't really talked about, or I don't think you have either. The Replicate on the Spectre, once Spectre does get that Radiance, you're going to have another Spectre fighting up against your team, so that Radiance isn't going to be straight up advantage for you. I don't know, Venomancer going to tag Spectre with that Gale, but with the Spectral Dagger. Spectre makes it off to the sidelines, but who's not so lucky is in mid. The poor Mirana that gets blown up. Spectre drops the ultimate, trying to chase down anybody that she can, and will reality in actually, as ZFXX going to eat the entirety of a waveform adaptive strike, which is too much damage. No Slander going to be Dream Cooled down to the ground as Mawant breaks that Replicate onto the Tidehunter. 4 staff away from the Invoker will keep himself safe. They are probably going to lose Shashlo here. That's only the Aegis, however, and they're still deep inside the enemy base. Scar's Mage ultimate going to do quite a big amount of damage to carry him, as the Ravage going to land squarely onto Cheshire Cat, but doesn't hit Shashlo or the Wisp, as Shashlo is able to clean up house inside the enemy base and is still on a hunting mission behind enemy tier 3 towers. The Invoker's in his base and can't do anything about this.
That was such an aggressive usage of the Aegis from the Morphling, and I love it. I mean, if you have the Aegis, you might as well get some value, and waveforming to dodge the Ravage was just the cherry on the cake. Power Rangers, clean house, as you said, and it's going to be a huge set of wins, and, well, yeah.
Oh dear. This is like the worst time in the world to pause. Look at that arrow.
I think
Let's
he's
see.
gonna get stunned.
Yep, there you go.
But is it gonna matter?
He's fine. No.
4 from Treasure Cat, rest in peace, Shadow Demon. Did not stand a chance. That's a level 5 Dagon. And yeah, this is pretty much Power Rangers showing Sqreen Squad. This is how you're supposed to run a Dagon hero. 11, 1, 8, and Puck now should be going for something that's not Lincoln's Sphere, I hope. I hope to see a Sheep Stick, but even if he doesn't want to go for that one, the Morphling with the shotgun is, I'm pretty sure, able to 100-0 anyone as long as the Wisp is there to add that additional kick of damage. This is pretty much Power Rangers in complete control of the game. 15,000 net worth in the lead. 14,000 plus experience. This is absolutely a terrifying hill that Sqreen Squad have to climb, and Spectre is a great hero to have when you're trying to do that, but she doesn't even have her Radiance completed, and it's 26 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Ethereal Blade, shotgun going the way of Mammoth, just the Morphling flexing his muscles. If there was anybody else there, it would have been a kill. Arrow going to fly between the IO as well as the Morphling. But yeah, if you see somebody that's Ethereal Blade as well as Ancient sealed up with the Dagon on the Puck, everybody's just going to melt to that. So much magical amplification. That Dagon's going to be doing more than pure damage, as is the Ethereal Blade adaptive strike from the Morph.
That's absolutely scary, and well, all the tier 2 towers are currently down for the Sqreen Squad, most of them denied, which is kind of nice. So Power Rangers are kind of lacking a real objective right now, except for just hunting with the Morphling. And because Morphling can put out so much damage, everyone from Sqreen Squad really cautiously are towing the line between their base and the outside world. So I'm sure it's going to be Power Rangers, mostly just asserting this map control until the Roshan is up, in which case they will go secure that really quickly, then try to go for high ground. But if anyone leaves their base, then they're in danger of being hit with double barrel. And Morphling is just so powerful and so comfortable with his position that he's pushing lanes all by himself. Like, if he gets jumped upon, I'm sure he'll die, but Sqreen Squad is too scared, and they're pretty much unwilling to leave their base.
Yeah, we also have the mechanism on the IO to offer that double heal. Finally, we have the Radiance on the Spectre. But it's going to be very easy for the Morphling to get that Replicate. Whenever Spectre uses the Haunt, he can just make the illusion, and that's going to be Radiance Burn fighting up against the likes of the Shadow Demon and company. And as much as the Spectre gets as far as items are concerned, there's still going to be that threat of an extra Spectre illusion fighting against your team, which is not what you want to have happening. And the Morphling is getting dangerously close to his next big item, 4,000 gold on the Morphling.
Oh man, I don't know what you get as shot slow. I don't really know if it matters what he gets. I mean, a butterfly will be fantastic. Cheshire Cat potentially in a little bit of trouble. He's going to dodge a deafening blast and an arrow both. The arrow will just barely time out, but Cheshire Cat is going to get relocated out as ZXC does find shot slow in the end. The dust is out. ZXC jumping forward, trying to go for Ouija 6. Radiance Burn will kill off the Skywrath Mage, almost for sure. He jumps a Mystic Flare before he dies. Now ZXC in potentially a little bit of trouble. The ultimate from the Venomancer going to land into 2. Shot slow arming the shotgun is going to very quickly kill off the Spectre, I'm sure, as Cheshire Cat in the meantime getting back into this fight along with Soneko. Going to take out one as Power Rangers only lose one hero, the Skywrath Mage. Now Soneko as well as Cheshire Cat on the run. They're going to catch eyes onto Momont as well as Akvarium, and they're going to try to cut them off with the Puck. Ravage is out. Puck's going to get dropped pretty low, but he's still going to survive this. Here comes the support. The Invoker just leaves, and Akvarium, he's going to get bursted down before he can teleport out of there. That's a 4-for-1 for Power Rangers. Once again, a huge trade for them.
Yeah. I don't know, at this point, Morphling, as long as he's getting more agility, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a full butterfly. Like, he can almost just one-shot buy that. He's only 700 gold from having that completed. Throw buyback to the wind, it doesn't matter. Morphling is stacked. Yeah. Even if Morphling wanted to just troll and go for a Dagon, I'm not sure it actually matters. Satchel is just so huge. And then inside the base, poor Tidehunter. Or no, Shadow Demon, excuse me. The other hero just completely evaporates. Tier 3 tower is also going to suffer a similar fate. Despite being glyphed up, that's only going to delay it for 5 seconds. And yeah, there's nothing that Sqreen Squad can do. They don't have a Ravage for 100 seconds. That's really their only team fighting tool. They don't even have the Spectre Haunt.
If they had a Ravage, they might be able to take this, but now they're going to jump forward. J4 with the Blink Daggers and look to make an opening happen. He's going to get clipped with an arrow, though. That's a 5-second one. No follow-up again, so the Tier 3 is going to go down. No real serious damage onto the Tier 4. In fact, the Plague Warriors are focusing the melee racks. Relocate back from the Wisp, though, is going to juice up Cheshire Cat, fill up the bottle, and we'll get everyone back up to full, I'm sure, in short order. Are they really just going to keep pushing this? I mean, I think they are powerful enough, especially since Ravage is down, but seems a little bit risky. They're going to throw the Ethereal Blade the way of ZXC, bring him down third. Now the jump forward from the Puck, going to annihilate the Invoker with the coil onto 2. Cheshire Cat's dropping pretty low himself, but he will go down in the end. Venomancer ultimate is going to be thrown as Morphling does wait for him forward. Gonna 3-shot kill ZXC, and now he's going to get juiced up by Soneko's mech. He's going to get all the way back up to full. Soneko dropping pretty low as well. Jump forward from Sqreen, but he's jumping way too far forward. He's going to hit with an Adaptive Strike, and he will barely limp away from that. It's going to be a 1 death of the Puck, and that's about it for now, as Shoshlo still is alive. Now gets a Butterfly delivered to him, but ZXC has bought back into this fight, and he's chasing down a couple heroes. Sunstrike will kill off one, and now the Dagger will kill off the other. Where is the Morphling? Looks like he slipped away to the right. Him as well as J4 should be safe from this one, as Sqreen lining up an arrow potentially, but I don't really think he has an angle for this. Shoshlo is still in a lot of trouble as he's going to run to the Tidehunter. The Lincoln Sphere will block the Gush, but now he's in the trees and he has no TP. Arrow is going to find this fact out. He's going to relocate back towards Marmont, who's going to throw the Tornado very quickly. Strength more quickly from Shoshlo. He's going to turn around and kill Sqreen. Now he's on the run. The damage is too high, though, from the Spectre. Getting that Desolate damage is going to break a godlike streak of the Morphling. 800 gold for the Spectre. Going to be huge as Power Rangers push a little bit too aggressively. As I said before, they probably can do it, but why bother? Go for Roshan instead, and it's going to cost them.
Yeah. They don't get the melee barracks as well. It's going to start regenerating up. The Morphling also, he replicates the Shadow Demon there. If they had the Radiance Burn throughout all of that, it might have been a different fight. I don't know. It was still a fairly sketchy engagement for them to take the, I don't know, just the Spectre damage. It was a little too much. The elongated fights, that's really where Spectre starts shining. When she's able to, I don't know, freely move, as well as just continuously get that Desolate Burn, as well as Dispersion damage off. The Roshan is probably still going to be taken by PR, although there's still 30 seconds without the Morphling. It's going to be a win for Sqreen Squad, although I feel it's only delaying the next big teamfight win for PR. They need to do that another 3 times or so.
Well, they did take that fight without Ravage from Tidehunter, and now it's up, so if Power Rangers want to go straight into this Roshan pit, then they will be facing up against the most devastating skill they could possibly be facing, and Will Slander's going to get a face full of Dagon once again. This Shadow Demon, that's like the 5th time at least that he's been dropped by the Puck Dagon in some way, so poor Shadow Demon there. It is going to be a pause for now, but Power Rangers, they have their Morphling back up in 6. He got the Butterfly delivered to him a little bit late in that fight. If he had it from the beginning, I don't know if the fight would have gone exactly the same way, but he's still sitting on a ton of net worth, and if he could get that to actually do damage consistently without getting locked down by arrows or cold snaps or anything like that, then he's going to be just fine. But I think it should be Roshan Power Rangers should be looking for, and I don't know if Sqreen Squad can contest. The Haunt is great in the Roshan pit because you get a whole bunch of illusions. It's really chaotic, as is Ravage, and Invoker is great too, but I don't know if it's enough to overcome this deficit.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We're still waiting for the pause. I'm not sure what the issue is. Yeah, we have no idea. Just going to be a pause coming up from the Spectre. No explanation needed. Yeah, Spectre, now her next item of choice is probably going to be a Heart, currently a casual Vit booster, as well as the Yasha. In her inventory, Spectre is hitting very hard, and after that fight, Spectre has a lot more to work with, although still just a little bit over half of the Morphling's net worth, which is scary. Morphling is the hardest hitting hero on this pitch, and once he gets his next item, which is probably going to be a Satanic, after completing up the Helmet of the Dominator, it's, I don't know, just not looking great. Currently with the double green swords, it's going to be TPing towards bottom lane. The creep that he'd like most in this world is currently sitting in his own jungle in the medium creep camp with the Alpha Wolf there, which would give him a pretty cool free relic as far as damage is concerned if they're able to keep that Alpha Wolf alive on the sidelines of the fight. However, unlikely, it still could offer a little bit more damage at the beginning of it, and maybe he just wants to stack up some camps. More than anything, it's going to be for the Satanic later on. Roshan very quickly taken by the Dire.
Sunstrike Scout a little bit too late. It will reveal the fact that, hey, they're done with Roshan, and well, now they sure as hell know who has that Aegis. The Haunt is out, and well, they're going to relocate up towards the top lane. Where did the Spectre actually end up? He's over on mid. Looks like he jumped to the puck and then ran away. The Scarth Mage is going to survive, but it might be J4 to take a fall. Has a Force Staff, might get to the low ground, popping off the ultimate as well, which will land onto 2, but it's at the end of the day going to be a kill on the Venomancer. It's a pretty nice kill for a Sqreen squad to have, although not if this happens. Marmont into the invis. Do they really still not have detection for this one? There's a gem on the puck, and he's following up a little bit behind. Here comes the damage. Marmont's going to get the Deafening Blast out, gets put into a bubble, however. That's going to end up killing him off. Delirium, Akvarium, rather, is going to get the Ravage off onto a whole bunch as Io does go down. Sasha's going to try to fight up against everyone, but it's too much damage. He doesn't have enough backup. The coil is going to be thrown from Cheshire Cat. Going to try to consider jumping forward, but he gets clipped with an arrow, and now he's going to go down as well. That's a 3 for 1 in the end. Invoker dies. Top lane Morphling was pushing that a little bit, but certainly not going to be worthwhile for Power Rangers. The Morphling is pretty much being ignored, and once all the teammates are dead, then you go for that hero.
Oh no, the puck's play at there was very questionable. Ends up tanking an arrow, had the phase shift available, had vision over the Marana, I believe. Maybe it was blind, but either way, also throws the Illusory Orb into the enemy base where you can't really jump. I'm not sure what the puck was really thinking, but either way, it's still not the end of the world for PR as their Morphling does survive, still has the Aegis available, and is getting close towards its next item. Once they have this Morphling getting that 5th slot of major items, they need to make something happen with Shashflow. We'll see. It's going to be a Sqreen Mage. His item progression's completely stopped as far as the other heroes that survived throughout all of that. The Venomancer is ultimate earlier on, forced the Spectre all the way back to base, and still does a ridiculous amount of damage with level 16 as well as the Aghanim Scepter. Sqreen squads still need to be careful, although they're holding on.
Yeah, and the Spectre's getting on to some pretty big items. She has the Yasha Vit booster from before, has picked up a cloak. I don't know if she's going to build anything with this, or she's just holding it for value. Either way, she's holding on to a lot of gold, and might want to consider going for a Crimson, although I don't know if she's going to want to fully commit to that Vanguard build. With the Vit booster in her inventory, it might just be a straight up Heart with the Yasha, and this Spectre is going to be returning quite a bit of damage, so Spectre's getting to a point where she is actually pretty dangerous now. She's now taken 2nd place in the net worth, pretty far behind the Morphling still, but I don't really think it's realistic to think that ZXC will ever get to that spot, at least not within a decent time frame. So Spectre's getting some pretty nice cost-effective items up, and that can make the difference. But it looks like Power Rangers, they're tired of bullshitting around with the mid and bottom lanes. They're just going to go straight up top and try to take this set of Raxes. They still have the Aegis on the Morphling for however long, and they're just going to go for it. Ravage is not available for another 15 seconds. They're going to lose the ranged Rax for sure. Sachlo is going to get hit pretty hard. He's going to get put into the bubble. Those illusions are going to hit pretty hard, but he's going to waveform out straight away. The ranged Raxes are going to die, or not die yet. They will die soon enough, I'm sure, as Soneko is going to drop pretty low. Maybe get the mech forced out. I feel like Power Rangers are down a hero right now, although they're just very spread out. Sasha runs again on the front lines, is going to steal an illusion of Spectre. And that's going to put the Radiance Burn back onto that spec, as Slasho's going to find the real ZXC. Ethereal Blade, Adaptive Strike, Waveform forward. The Disruption is going to save the Spectre for now. Now the Ravage is going to pop out, only onto Slasho though, who's going to get very quickly healed back up to full HP due to the mech, as well as the Tether. Now the Coil, as well as the Poison Nova, going to be thrown out onto everyone. ZXC going to try desperately to go for Sneeko, but he will pay for it with his life. Has buyback, it's going to be at the trade of the Puck, who has buyback as well. Shacho's still very, very healthy, and that's the real problem here for Sqreen Squad. It's still going to be 4 on 5, as the Venomancer actually gets a kill on the Mirana with the poison damage in the end, and Slasho's right back into the base, killing off the melee Raxes. Fortification is out, but it won't really do enough, as this is definitely going to be at the very least one set of Raxes for the Power Rangers side. They know that they don't have to deal with Ravage, and they still have the Aegis on Shotchlo, so I think they go for a little bit more. He's kind of left behind by the rest of his team. He's going to get disrupted. Meteor is going to land onto no one. Deafening Blast is there. Shotchlo's going to get relocated all the way back to his base. However, this is going to bring him back into a very dangerous situation. I don't know if you bring the Morphling back, but I mean, he has the Aegis. You might as well. He's going to straight by a Mantis style, so this is going to be a surprise. He's going to jump right back in with the Venomancer there as well. Ethereal Blade onto Slender will not kill him off, although the Waveform will. Now he's going to try to fight up against Akvarium, and he's going to do so much damage. Anger Smash is going to reduce it a little bit, but now the Venomancer ultimate is out, and the Tidehunter has got to run. He's not going to survive. That's another couple of kills for the Power Rangers. Now they're going to rotate over towards the mid lane, and this tier 3 tower is not long for life. Spectre doesn't have much. Tidehunter's not even alive. Invoker needs to pull out a miracle right now, but I don't even know if a miracle is going to save them.
Sunstrike lines under Shashlo, as well as the Sunstrike and Arrow. Oh dear. Yeah, it's a ranged barracks down. They throw the Ethereal Blade the way of the Mirana, dropping her down to about half. The Waveform forward into the base. Adaptive Strike doesn't do in Sqreen. But Jackstro, his Aegis is going to expire. They probably get the melee barracks and then back off. And Arrow lands on Shashlo. This is a decent time to kill him if you're able to isolate him, but he's just taking no damage. He's going to be healed back up by the Wisp, and now the Waveform forward. Shashlo is going to be fighting like a man, and then backs off, and backlines is, yeah. He's currently deep inside his base. Venomancer gets a kill onto the Mirana. Again, the tick damage is too much. Shashlo gets back into the front lines of the fight by relocating in after the defensive... replicating in after relocating under the backline steer. We are going to see the tier 3 tower down fall, as there's nothing that Sqreen Squad can really do to defend against this, and this is going to be mega creeps. What are they going to do? They buy the S and Y on the Spectre just as a last-ditch effort to fight. The Haunt is going to come out. They're focused down Satchel. Satchel is pretty low, but he has the strength worth available, as well as the Wisp. Sunstrike comes through, lands squarely onto We Just Zik, and they're going to back off. Dreamcoil going to come into 2, and they almost blow up Slender immediately. The Adaptive Strike is going to do him in. Cheshire Cat is going to be cold snapped up, but I still think he survives, going to be able to phase shift as well as jaunt away. Everybody on the side of PR is surviving, although only just. Invoker Sunstrike coming up from cooldown in 12 seconds, but he's going to be blown up before he's able to get that off. Lincoln Sphere popped, and now Akvarium man fighting up against Satchel. That's just not a man fight you can win, even with the Anchor Smash minus damage. Invoker buying back. He's able to get the Sunstrike, I believe, onto Wisp is what killed him. No, it's the Spectre that's able to get that one. Sunstrike goes on Satchel. Satchel going to die as the Radiance Burn, as well as the Dagger, is going to kill off the Morphling. Morphling does have buyback, and crucially, all of the creeps are gone. They don't have a barracks left standing. If there's a hero that can do it, Spectre's a pretty good one, but not with this amount of farm.
Killing off the Morphling there was Tidehunter dueling up against him. When Anchor Smash is still pretty damn strong, even though it was nerfed. The Morphling was not doing jack. It doesn't really matter, though. Mega Creeps already claimed, and after all is said and done, going to be Power Rangers, extending their lead up to 25k plus in net worth, around 17,000 experience. The Morphling has buyback, Puck does not, but Sqreen Squad, their only real hope right now is a desperation GG push. And they have to go through a tier 2 tower, so I don't even think that's viable. They're going to buy up all the items that they can. Sanjin Yasha for the Spectre, as well as the Diffusal Blade. This is them going all in. And maybe if they think that the Morphling doesn't have buyback, they could get a tier 3 tower down. But hell, I don't even know if that's viable. They're going to catch someone in a bubble. Who is it? It's a random Venomancer illusion. That's a really dead illusion, but that's not going to be good enough. They're just not pushing fast enough. They're not even at the tier 2 yet, and Morphling's going to be respawning in 30. I don't think he even has to buy back.
Sneeko just casually relocates in the enemy base to clean up the creep wave and now overcharges some melee creep. Yeah, the split push is real from the Wisp. He's going to get back towards his base. The Spectre is going to do some damage to the Io, but the Venomancer is also here. And they need to be so careful. Venomancer casually ults onto nothing. That's about the amount of it, as the Gale also misses. He's going to be furiously pinged by the Morphling.
And Morphling is now back up. Cheshire Cat is going to play defense over towards the mid lane. He will dodge every single Invoker spell. Here comes the big bad Morphling. There goes the big bad Morphling waveforming out. Tier 2 tower down. Oh no, what are Power Rangers going to do without this map control? Oh wait, the tier 4s are down and the Ancient is under attack. Spectre could haunt in. They are going to go for Aquarium. Waveform forward, might kill off Sqreen. Now he's going to escape. Aquarium might also escape as well, or at least have his Ravage forced out. Sochlo is going to block the disruption. He's going to go to town with the Shadow Demon. That's Shadow Demon down. Lamont is going to be short to follow. He's going to get the Tornado out onto the Morphling, but the Waveform forward, and the Morphling is just on an absolute tear right now. He's going to kill off everyone. Is the Ancient still alive? I'm actually kind of surprised about that. It's mostly formalities at this point. Sqreen, I don't think they can defend this very long, especially when here comes Slotcho. 3 shots will kill off Slander, although the Ravage is going to slow him down a little bit. Can they kill off this Morphling? He's actually taking quite a bit of damage. Waveform out, and he's going to go down. I don't think the comeback is real.
It's not real. It really isn't, especially when you have Sheshla buying back Boots of Travel cooldown for 5 seconds till he has those available. But once he does, if he really wanted to, he could get back with the rest of his team. He is going to Boots of Travel somewhere back into his base. Oh, very interesting usage. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure this game is over. Spectre is nowhere near 6 slotted. I mean, she does have 6 slots of items, but not the items that you really want to be when you're facing up against Megas. Their clearing is extremely slow. The Morphling is he buying random items? He has almost 6 slots of his own. He only has a Satanic upgrade left. It's just a matter of time, I think. Maybe Sqreen Squad take a couple more fights and hold on for a little bit longer, but they can't actually push out fast enough in order to win this game. So they're not going to lose, but they're not going to win either.
Yeah, they're barely holding even up against these creeps. And that's really just a sign of how bad this is going. Ideally, you'd have supports that would be able to clear out those creeps. They just don't have it. They have a Tidehunter with the double Ravage now, as well as the BKB on the Invoker. I think at the best they can hope to trade evenly in a couple of fights, but they won't be able to push fast enough to do any significant damage to the enemy base. Maybe get 1 set of racks at the very best, but that's hardly going to happen. We have Mirana ultimate used, but they're all inside their base. What's that actually going to accomplish? Aegis on the puck, Cheese on the floor, Cheese probably going the way of the Veno, and from here on out, PR can just 5-man down push a lane. Even if they lose a couple of heroes, the Ancient is almost sure to fall. It's the only structure left in the Radiant side.
So J4 grabbed the cheese and then instantly sells it. 500 gold is going to buy for your Boots of Speed, I guess, which he's going to go back and pick up, so don't need cheese. J4 doesn't need it. I think Power Rangers know the state of this game as well. You don't sell cheese unless you have already won, or unless I guess you are just really messing up and denying your Aegis as well. But Slotcho is setting up for the bottom lane. This is going to be the final push, as Sqreen Squad, they have pretty much everything online. This is the strongest they've been in a very long time in this game, but it just is a little bit too late. If they could maybe burst down Slotcho, they'll live for a couple more rounds, but Aquarium's going to drop to half just with the Ethereal Blade alone, and there's J4 jumping in. Venomancer ultimate only onto ZXC. He does get the Haunt out. Huge illusions everywhere, forcing Power Rangers back. The Ravage initiation not quite there just yet as he's looking for an opening. ZXC dropping to below half. He's going to get 4 staff south for some reason. Sacho's going to hit with the Ravage, as is 2 other of his allies. Sacho's going to hit now with the Meteor. No Deafening Blast, no secondary Ravage. He doesn't have enough mana for it. Aquarium kind of messed up there. In the meantime, the Ancient is dying. Here comes the Wisp again, and Shotzo is not hitting the Ancient because he doesn't have to. There it goes.
Yeah, a very elongated ending to this game. It's only a matter of time when you have Mega creeps. Sometimes there's a game that's really close. Maybe you have 2 lanes of barracks yourself and you're able to push out the lanes effectively, but this game was not that one. Power Rangers are going to secure the series out 2-1 after being demolished by Sqreen Squad in that game number 1. It felt really like a fairly even series. Game number 2 was throws back and forth towards either side, and I don't know, on another day maybe it would have been Sqreen Squad taking it out, but it is going to be Power Rangers at the end of the day, and that's going to be it for the Yard Red Festival here on HeflaTV.
Yeah, it is going to be Power Rangers taking it 2-1. That'll put them into round 2 to face up against Moscow 5 at a later date. Don't exactly know when that's going to be, so you're going to have to follow the channels if you want to find that one out. It's going to be here on HeflaMoke's channel, which is the most uncommonly used channel. HeflaTV 1 and 2 is where you're going to want to go in order to follow us. So drop us a follow there. Twitter.com, Facebook.com/HeflaTV is where you're going to find all of the updates about us as well. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Granis V for the Yard Red Festival. Do you have anything else to say, man?
Absolutely not. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you here on our HeflaTV channels for some more Yardwood Festival action and potentially for some other tournaments. Hope to see you around.
All right, guys, later.